Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Pauper at the request of Patreon subscriber Wombat Ferrari, and this is Blue Terror. This is a beautiful, simple little deck. The goal is to play one of these big dummies. Cryptic Serpent is a 6/5 for 7. Player in Terror is a 5/5 ward 2 for 7, and they are both have their costs decreased by 1 for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. In order to put instants and sorceries in the graveyard, for starters, we have a deck full of instants and sorceries. There's a lot of them. And we're maxed out on Mental Note and Thought Scour. You target yourself with these, you mill over 2 cards. Ideally, the Thought Scour mills 2 spells, and then that's basically a Dark Ritual that cantrips, and it's a Dark Ritual that affects your all 8 of these for the rest of the game. Ponder and Brainstorm are, of course, instant and sorceries that go in your graveyard, and then Find More. Luring Revealed is a land that is actually a sorcery that goes in your graveyard. You see the theme here. The goal is to stick one of these big dummies and hit with it a bunch of times, backed by some light permission in 4 counterspell to Dispel, some light removal in Sleep of the Dead. And the one thing that Wombat Ferrari is doing differently than other Blue Terror players is, instead of Delver of Secrets in the deck, Murmuring Mystic is the secondary threat. What Wombat Ferrari has found is that Delver is a pretty bad draw in the late game, and it's situationally useful depending on the matchup in the early game. It's not very good into Refurbished Familiar, it's not very good into Glinthawk, or Core Skyfisher, any of these commonly played cards in the format. And Murmuring Mystic is usually in the sideboard of these blue tempo decks as something that goes a little bigger, a little wider, creates a different type of game in the post-board situation. But why not just main deck that? Why mess around with the Delvers at all? Murmuring Mystics in here, 10 threats in the deck, 4 Terrors, 4 Serpents, 2 Murmuring Mystics. Those are all the ways we have to win. And the goal is to just create velocity, get ahead, and stay there. A beautiful, simple little deck, 16 basic islands, 4 of most of your good spells. You love to see it. Let's do it. This is Blue Terror. I'm on the play in round 1. I'm going to keep this hand. 1 land is all you need and all you can really expect. And I do have the Luring Reveal to help it out. I'm going to lead on Ponder. I can Lorien anytime. Okay, multiple Serpents here, and the next land has appeared. How do I maximize this? I think I put Island on the bottom of the stack, draw both Serpents, and then just cycle to hit my other island. Because I want the threats, but I also want to use my mana. Otherworldly Gaze, okay. That's a way to fill your graveyard. That's about all it does, really. This could be some kind of dredge deck, it could be some sort of pseudo-mirror. Winged Words. Spell costs 1 less if you control a creature with flying, draw 2 cards. Dump 2 of those. Okay, and here I Island Cycle, then cast Ponder. Keep the show on the road. Thought Scour, Ponder, Team Inferior. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw the Thought Scour, and I'm going to cast it in my next upkeep. That clears 2 spells. That guarantees I can put Tolarian Terror on the stack, and then depending on what I actually draw between Thought Scour and my draw step, we can see what else happens that turn. Another Gaze. Otherworldly Gaze, importantly, is not a cantrip. My opponent's using an actual card in their hand to get this thing, get this selection and fill this graveyard, where my cards replace themselves while doing the same thing. We're clearly playing different decks, but we are clearly also both interested in a graveyard full of stuff. I'd Scour myself in the upkeep. Hit the land is nice. Terror has Ward, but Cryptic Serpent uses my mana better. I'm going to go this way. Familiar. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Am I dead? Am I dead somehow? All right, this has been put to sleep, which Terror wouldn't have done, but, you know, the thing I said is still true. Tapping Sunscape Familiar, unfortunately, doesn't matter. I can spend a turn using my mana to Deep Analysis. I think I'm interested in doing that. Is leaving 3 mana unspent with this deck feels so heinous, even though passing without a threat also feels bad. But the Serpent will be untapped next turn. They just pass back to me. I like that. I'm going to go to combat before I do anything else. Just see how that goes. Opponent doesn't really have to do anything here. They've got a life total, which can be used as a resource. That's what I've heard from Magic players, from good Magic players. Okay, I can go Serpent, Terror, hold up Dispel, and that's lethal next turn with Sleep of the Dead tapping the Familiar. Drix Interception. Choose one or both, counter target spell, tap 2 target creatures. I think I'm going to let them have this because I have another threat, and they are a combo deck. I don't want to get roasted too hard fighting over one thing and then losing to something else. It's an end step Otherworldly Gaze. I'm not super dialed into Pauper right now, but I have played a lot of Pauper historically, and I recognize the Familiar as combo shell, but I don't really know what this Otherworldly Gaze build is trying to get to. Dumbing Dragonwings is cool. They must have large creatures they plan to put into play, and they care if it has flying. That's really interesting. Murmuring Mystic. Shit. That's bad. That's really bad. That's going to be tough to get through. Remember I said how my deck is constructed with Murmuring Mystics because it's such a powerful sideboard card? Well, here it is in the main. I did not have a counterspell. I am pushing damage. I do have double Sleep of the Dead. And most importantly, they're running out of cards in hand. Only 2 cards in that hand because they haven't actually drawn any cards this game. Okay, I think I'm going to start with a deep analysis from the graveyard. See where that puts me. See what my options are. They floated a blue in response and then didn't do anything. Okay. Your blue is floating. Move to combat. They can, at minimum, Otherworldly Gaze from the graveyard and block, but apparently not interested. Well, that's good news for me. Do I want to sleep this Mystic now, or do I want to do it all as a surprise next turn? I think I would like to Mental Note. See what comes off of that. Dispel. I don't think this is my fight. Right, if I put Murmuring Mystic to sleep, or I want them to have to block with that, I should put a bird to sleep. Okay, I'm going to put this bird to sleep, and then pass the turn, and hope that they don't have enough juice to do everything they need to do here. I had enough mana to sleep 2 things. Godfair is Faithful. That's just a body. 1 card left in hand with Otherworldly Gaze in the graveyard. That can be a bird. Sleep of the Dead. I get my ward trigger. You get a bird. That is not an instant. They go to 4 life on that. Okay. Another island. 7 mana. It costs 4 mana to Sleep of the Dead twice. Or I could Sleep of the Dead 3 times here. If I tap everything except Murmuring Mystic, then they have to block with Mystic. I am tapped out for the turn, but I think that's okay. Sleep the bird. Sleep the Pharaoh. Sleep the Familiar. And let's start to turn this game around. They have to block. And they have 1 bird to block with next turn because everything is stunned. Okay, don't kill me. Go. Something like a Ghostly Flicker would gain a life and unlock 2 blockers here, even though that's not really what they want to be using it for. They do, of course, have their own Sleep of the Dead in the graveyard, but they can only cast it once here. Okay, that puts you to 5. They know they need either another life point or another blocker here. Oh, Otherworldly Gaze is another life point, so that's actually on lock. Okay, so I'm not winning this turn anyway. Should I even stun the bird? I think I'm going to deep analysis myself. See where that goes. Lauren revealed more dispels. I do like all of those things. I'll analysis myself again. Ooh. Demon Inferior. I have drawn a lot of cards. Okay, I'm going to deem this bird inferior so it's gone. My opponent will have to Otherworldly Gaze to gain a life. Counterspell. Okay, so you still gain a life. I'm still holding up Dispel. Do I want them at 1 with no counter protection? Or at 6 with a Dispel up? I think taking my time here, trying not to die, is reasonable. There might be Pauper grinders out there who are like, what are you even doing? That's instants are not how this deck wins. Leaving Dispel up is pointless. I don't know, man. Trying to figure out as I go. Okay, Otherworldly Gaze. I think I should let resolve. Feels weird to do that main phase when upkeep would have impacted this draw step, unless they're just not that desperate. This could just be fuel for this Sleep of the Dead that's been kicking around the graveyard. But Counterspell Brainstorm in their graveyard. One card left in hand. Cycling Dragon Wings. What is the 6-drop that's coming for me? Oh, Tolarian Terror. Sure, that is a 6-drop. And it gains flying. It doesn't make it any bigger. Yeah, flying, I don't want to say irrelevant, but it doesn't help this thing. If this was like +1/+1 in flying, it would actually be devastating. They're going to sleep one of my creatures here. Going for the one that they can legally target that doesn't have ward. 1, 2, 3, 1. All right, I can't do 2 of those anyway, even if I cycle Lorien Revealed. Oh, now you're in trouble. All right, well, there's that guy. It would cost me 5 mana to tangle with the Tolarian Terror. I think I'm just going to attack with my Terror and see if they want to trade. Because I know I'm about to turn the corner with something completely different. All right, they're in chump block mode. And the theory manifesting itself here that if games go long and Delver's not even good, what are we doing? Okay, I'm going to pass. Having these counter spells up makes it feel like it would be really hard to lose. Oh, they are interested in a damage race. Okay. I accept. Mental note. Okay. If I attack with everything here, can they? What are the chances they can untap their Tolarian Terror? That seems unlikely to me. If I sleep both of these, okay, I'm going to start with Mental Note. See where that goes. That fuels my graveyard enough. Okay, sleep the Pharaoh. I'm just going to sleep these creatures with Counterspell still up. It seems unlikely that they could get out of this. In something like Otherworldly Gaze gaining 2 life. I mean, they're still dead because of Murmuring Mystic. Okay, sweet. Oh, they scooped the whole match? Not interested. Okay, on to the next round, I guess. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next-day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2, and I'm going to keep. But fair's fair. Last game, I called out Murmuring Mystic showing up on like turn 8 or 9 to look awesome. This is where Delver would look much better. Call me Garden. Do I want to aggro Brainstorm? Yeah, I think I do. All right, I found Lorien Revealed, which makes that ideal. At least one of these cards I want much later. I think it's Deep Inferior, Deep Analysis. And I can just draw the Deep Analysis here, because I have the land and the Lorien to just do it all. I'm holding up Counterspell, or I could Brainstorm plus hit a land drop. End step Brainstorm. We know we're going to see at least one card again. That's the Deep Inferior. Deep Analysis. I want to mill that over later. And I guess I'll put back Deep Inferior. Deep Analysis. Motobug. Okay, Ponder. Well. I'll put them in any order and not shuffle. A sequence that I've never done in my life. Put back any order, no shuffle. That's honestly extremely sexy. I'm just going to jam off a Counterspell on this. I don't think this deck does anything devastating at 3 mana. Oh, shit. Well, they could do that. That actually... oh, no. Hoisted by my own petard. Well, that was bad news. And now I know I'm drawing 3 completely blank cards in a row. All right. You got me. I was thinking about their win cons, not about their interaction. Ichor Wellspring. I think I want to counter that. That enables a lot of shit, including the insight that's in their graveyard already. Lempus. All right. Had another one anyway. I'm drawing my 3rd pointless card in a row. I had such a good play out, and then I got antsy and wasted it. Yeah, this game's going to go so long. Countering a Divination doesn't even matter. Yeah, I blew it. I'm fine saying that. Cycling Troll of Khazad-dûm. Swamp straight into play. Brainstorm. Set me free. Find some action. All right, Thought Scour found. I love that. I'm going to put back Deep Analysis and Sleep of the Dead, and then I'll Thought Scour myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is one short. Okay, pass the turn. Please don't bomb me again. Right, well, I can't counter a spell bomb anyway, so I'll counter this draw too. That gets me the 6th spell in the graveyard. Moment of Truth. Avenging Hunter. Okay. I mean, that guy's pretty scary, but hopefully less scary than 3 5/5s. A 1. A 2. A 3. Okay. Did I turn the corner? Do they have a sweeper that can get out of this? We'll find out together shortly. They went into the scry zone and scried 2 to the bottom. Defile. That can clear one of them. Another Defile. Okay, that taps them out, but they do get to hold on to the initiative. Just put Troll of Khazad-dûm on top of the deck. Oh, yeah, attack me. I fucking dare you. Okay. I am going to Sleep of the Dead and take the initiative. I think that's the best thing I can do here. That guarantees my land drop, which is something I'm hurting for right now. It gives me the initiative, and I get to cast Ponder. Island Ponder. I think I would like these cards. Okay, here we go. I know they have Troll of Khazad-dûm, but I can sleep that forever. My graveyard is juicy. I'm winning the damage race. I'm going to Forge. Let's give me the 7/7. I'm going to attack for 7, see if they want a piece of this. They do not. Okay. Now I can Cryptic Serpent plus Sleep of the Dead, target Troll. Or I can Murmuring Mystic, Ponder, have 2 blockers up, but this trample's kind of a bummer. All right. Cryptic Serpent, Sleep of the Dead, target the Troll. Okay, ship it. The Hunter is back online here. Cryptic Serpent is big enough to eat it. All right, Snuff Out down to 4. Cast down, okay. Well, here I am, tapped out of Dispel and losing the initiative, but they're in the wrong pipeline over there. At least the wrong one to kill me fast, if that is their goal. Reckoner's Bargain. Starting to find some cards. Bajuka Bog, fuck. All right. Stuffing the Deep Analysis is pretty nice. Okay. Land, Mystic, Ponder, Demon Inferior. I think I want that next turn. I'm going to go Island, Deem, Ponder, no shuffle, pass. They are dead if a single bird hits them, because they're at 6. And a 1/1 that takes the initiative, activates the trap, deals 5 to them. All right, well, Lembas can gain life. Now I got to do a little more than that. It's 11 damage. I accept. I'm at 4. Do I lose exactly to rats here? Yeah, maybe I was supposed to block. Okay, Lembas is fine. Opponent's at 9. Bajuka Bog, you can have it. The mental note is awkward because I want the cards that are on top of my deck, but I also want birds. But I guess I'm going to have the initiative, so it's fine. Okay, draw Demon Inferior. Then mental note away the island. There's a second Demon Inferior there. Ponder gets Demon Inferior down to 1. Cryptic Serpent. I'll have 1, 2, 3. This costs 1. I have 4 mana. If I Thought Scour my opponent, I'll have 4 spells, 5 spells in the graveyard. That's exactly the right number. So it's Thought Scour, Demon Inferior, Serpent, though that's not enough to... What am I trying to do right now? I think I have to deem the Troll inferior. No, I'm going to have so many birds. I'm more afraid of Trample than I am of Menace right now, I think. I think just having the most spells that generate the most birds are what I need to do right now. So I'm going to Serpent, Note, Scour, no shuffle, Deem, Avenging Hunter inferior. They're responding by doing something. All right, sacking it, sure. I don't think I put a Dispel here. That's fine. Okay. Do I want Murmuring Mystic back as a blocker? Thought Scour U, which draws Mental Note from me. Limbus and Toxin Analysis went away. I think I'm going to leave Mystic back. I'll take the initiative. It's a trap. Opponent's at 3. And I can generate 2 birds at instant speed. Well, 1 for sure, and 1 if I need to counter something. I currently have exactly enough blockers to not die. If they just play an Avenging Hunter, that could get icky, because then they're in the Throne of the Dead 3, the old-fashioned way. Okay, before this attack, I'm going to Mental Note, or before this block. I don't want Murmuring Mystic to have to be involved if it doesn't need to be. Okay, block, 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 block. Wait, do I want Murmuring Mystic involved, actually? If they have Toxin Analysis, I can counter it. Yeah, I actually do want Mystic involved, because this gives me a lethal attack back. Okay. This is what's happening. Okay, they're just sacking that. I think that has to be okay. This is a tight game. Cryptorats, no! Oh, I have more mana. Or I have more life. Okay, so we're going to draw this game. Coward. Coward! Okay. Game 2. Alright, so that was after me really messing up in the early turn, and it was still came down to that. Like, that's okay. Alright. Target artifact or enchantment spell. They have so many setup objects in the deck that seems pretty reasonable. Piracy Charm could kill a rats if it's just in play. Island Walk doesn't matter. Making them discard a card probably doesn't matter much. Yeah, I think if I had just played turn 2 or 3 of this game better, or if I had left up 1 mana for Dispel ever, I think I would have won that game. So I'm just gonna adjust to that information. Dispel was really good there. I just wasn't able to use it, or I didn't use it. I was able to. I chose not to by being foolish. Do I even sideboard? Annul, and like I said, it can hit the various Wellsprings and Lembuses, but is that even the angle of this deck I fight on? Normally I would board in Murmuring Mystic over something like Delver, but that's already done. Sleep of the Dead was clutch. I don't want only 1, because if I mill over 1 and then they hit me with the Bajuka Bog or the Nile Spellbomb, they clearly have lots of main deck graveyard hate. Annulling a Nile Spellbomb's actually nice, though. Maybe some of these Demon Furiers could become annuls. They don't have a lot of creatures, they just have very important creatures once we get to the mid and late game. Okay, I've got a couple annuls in here now. That's the only thing I'm doing. I will keep my hand. The velocity's not huge here. I play exactly 2 Deep Analysis, and I think I've had both of them in my hand every single game so far. Colony Garden. Land number 3. When my hand looks like this, I don't really mind drawing lots of lands. Wellspring. I don't have the annul. Alright, well, I have 4 lands to cast my Deep Analyses and Murmuring Mystic now. I don't think I'm going to cast this Murmuring Mystic till I have like 6 or 8 lands in play. Under a spell, some velocity. Okay, they put that in a spot where I was tapped out of Counterspell, but as we learned from last game, I don't think that's even where I want to use Counterspell. A Mental Note, Murmuring Mystic, Brainstorm, don't shuffle. My plan here is to brainstorm the Deep Analyses to the top of the deck and then Thought Scour away both of them, and then untap, draw 4. I guess I can't tap out that turn. Untap, draw 2. Thorn of the Black Rose. Hell no. Alright. Well, glad I had Counterspell on that spot. Okay, Brainstorm. Big turn to find a Terror. I'll take it. Alright, do I want to mill both Analyses? That leaves me completely shields down to Graveyard Hate, but I guess it's just the best thing to do. Oh, I hit another Terror. Alright, I'm going to try to turn the corner here. I can beat an Avenger if they play that. If they go like Toxin Analysis plus a Rat, just have to accept that. But hopefully the Ward does a lot here. Alright. Snuff out, pay the Ward, Tithing Blade, wipe out both my Deep Analysis with Bajuka Bog. That was a great turn for them. And now all I can really do is tap out for Murmuring Mystics and hope they get there. Eviscerator's Insight, sacking Tithing Blade. Cycling Troll of Khazad-dûm. This will give them the 4th swamp to defile my Mystic. Or 2nd Blade, sure. That's even worse. Thought Scour, okay. Let's do something. Scour myself. Milling 2 Thought Scours. And I drew a counterspell. Okay. I don't think deeming inferior this plant token is anything I'm ever going to do. Lembas resolves. I'm at the point where they've done so much, I'm fighting over payoffs exclusively. I think I'd rather deem inferior that, or what am I even doing? I don't know what's going on right now. Maybe that was definitely a counterspell. Alright. This is not the best Magic I've ever played. Where does this put this? 2nd from the top. Okay, so they can just immediately redraw the rats. Yeah, that was bad. I accept it. Yeah, if I had Gutshot or Piracy Charm, I can see letting that resolve, but Deem Inferior works so much better against every other card in their deck. I guess if they get the Initiative or Monarch, I would prefer that. Okay, they didn't get the rat immediately. Mental Note. I wish that was Thought Scour so I could bin that rat on top of their deck. Cryptic Serpent. Okay, that's a threat, and I have Counterspell up. 5 mana being spent. Eviscerator's Insight, sacking Tithing Blade, you got it. Fanatical Offering. Alright, they're just drawing millions of cards while I'm tapped low. I accept. Snuff Out. Dispel. I'll make you use your rat for that. We can go to game 3. There's still nobody's up a game here. Okay. And now rat is... Oh, that's so much worse. Alright. Yep, good turn. I'm now behind. A land's a great draw. Jukabog got me. That's not the land I was hoping for. Right, Island Cycle. I'm going to sleep the Hunter. I know they have rat. They can just wrath the board and ride the initiative to into the sunset. But if they rat to clear a bird, that kills the rat too. Right, they can make a 2/2 plant token. It's so good. Oh, wow, sick. All right, yeah, they mapped onto the rat. Now they have a 2/2 Crypt Rats. Completely busted. Yeah, I'm not winning this game. Brainstorm, see what this can come up with. I mean, oh right, these cost $1 million. I want to put back Island and Serpent, and I'll play a Serpent, which they can wrath away if they want. It could just kill me this turn, right? Troll of Khazad-dûm. All right, I can't afford to block. I also can't afford to not block. Just in trouble no matter what. And yeah, okay. That was a beating. This matchup feels really difficult. Yeah, I brought in those annuls. Is that too situational? Is Deem Inferior actually what I want? Oh, we saw the Tithing Blades in addition to all the other stuff. Yeah, Tithing Blade's scary. I think I'm going to shave a Sleep of the Dead for an annul. Refueling the graveyard seems really important. The mental notes and Thought Scours, knowing that they have at least 3 graveyard rats. Okay. Gonna make that small change. This is mid, but it does play magic and it can heat up. Alright. I need a cantrip sooner than later. Cycle Lorien. Opponent's got a tap land. Multiple counterspells now. I'm on deck. Alright. I'll cast this Brainstorm, which might be risky. Got away with it. Put away Deep Analysis and... Is it one of the counterspells? Yeah, I think I want both of these mental notes. If I can just... If they chill this turn, and I can just double send it in the end step, mill over a bunch, play a bunch of creatures. That sounds okay. End step, mental note. End step, mental note. That one was 2 creatures, that sucked. Alright, what do I actually have now? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there. That's plenty. Terror. Terror. And I think leaving up my counter spells rather than playing the 3rd creature makes sense here. Fanatical Offering is going to have to resolve. Snuff Out. I'll let you pay the ward before I counter this. Bang. Swamp. The Tithing Blade could get through here, but anything else, the ward is strong. Okay, yeah, Snuff Out. Sure. You took 8 playing their own cards that game, or that turn. Attack with Terror. I'm going to ponder first. I'd love a counterspell. None of these are counterspell. I'm going to shuffle. I found a land. I had a land anyway. I think I'd like to Deep Analysis while I still can, but I also want to add to the board. And that would tap me out of a null. Am I worried about a null this turn? I'm going to start with analysis. Counterspell. All right. Now I'm going to pump the brakes. Ichor Wellspring. That's not my annul target, knowing that they have blades in the deck. Reckoner's Bargain. Don't care. Pajuka Bog. That's fine. I did what I needed to do last turn with the deep analysis while I could. Ponder. Brainstorm, Brainstorm. Okay, do not shuffle. Play my land. Attack for 5. Opponent's at 4. I have a real counter and a conditional counter. I'm just going to pass. I don't think I should have played that land. I think that was a mistake. Okay, so you pay the ward, then I counterspell, and we did it. Yeah, so I did make a mistake last turn. I should have brainstormed, juiced Lorien to hit the land drop, brainstorm away the land. That would have left up everything while making my hand better. But sticking a big O and backing up with a bunch of counterspells was good enough. I don't think I like annul enough to play 4 of them here. Okay, here we go. Same deck. On to game 4. I'm going to keep this. Again, slow to heat up, but counterspell is nice. It heard me say that. Wellspring has to be okay. I'm going to cycle Lorien. Just make sure I can do that, if in case I have to tap out for counterspell for the rest of the next 3 turns. Garden. All right, I'm hitting lands like crazy. I don't even mind that here. All right, Eviscerator's Insight, fine. Game 1, I fought over the enablers. I think fighting over the payoffs is a better plan. Okay, how likely is it that Brainstorm beats this duress anyway? I'm going to cast Brainstorm. Okay, so if I hide Annul and Thought Scour on top of the deck, yeah, all this duress can take one of the 3 counterspells. I got a full house here. And an extra pair. We got that Balatro hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thought Scour I know will hit a spell. It's guaranteed 5 spells in the graveyard. 6 is a very important number of spells I could hit. But the top card of my deck is also a null. I think I'm just going to pass with 2 counterspells up and take my time here. This is turn 5. This is where Avenging Hunter happens if I am not careful. Crypt Rats. I think I care about that. Counter that. Pajuka Bog, pretty good. All right, now I'm going to draw a null. Maybe I'm overvaluing this, but whatever, it's happened. Hit a mental note. We found another annul. I was so careful to get that and just drew one anyway. Witch Cottage, this cottage. So there's a rat on top of your deck. You know there's a counterspell in my hand. Ponder. Can this find a Thought Scour and clear the rat? It can indeed. Okay. All right, don't shuffle. Thought Scour you. Top of my deck is 2 creatures anyway. Give me that. Okay, so they end up drawing the rat here, but I can counter that. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4 spells in my graveyard. I could get the terror into play, but that's all that it does. I'm going to pass and hope I don't get Pajuka Bogged right now. Okay, so if this were to hit my terrors, it would also kill itself. What I'm worried about here is land Thorn of the Black Rose, so I'm going to just hold up the counterspell. Opponent has to discard to hand size. Got him. Hey, there's a terror. I'll at least put something in front of the Crypt Rat. Fanatical Offering's fine. Defile. Pay the ward. And I'm still holding up counterspell. You can't trick me into doing this shit. Have they played a land this turn? 4 is an important number. They have played their land already. I'm going to annul this. It puts a spell in my graveyard. Rats are in. Fanatical Offering, you got it. I now have 1 less life than my opponent, which might actually be a really important number. Terror. Serpent. Counterspell up. If they have to spend mana to sweep here, I accept. Still not fighting over that when they have 7 cards in hand. Tough crowd. This deck has so much removal. Right, they're at 16 now. Oh, their life total is lower than mine for Crypt Rat considerations. Insight, sure. Thought Scour, another one. My graveyard's already juicy. I'm actually going to scour my opponent. I don't know how reasonable decking is as a plan here, and I do know that they use their graveyard at least a little bit, but it feels like going after their graveyard is not completely insane. I'm going to put back Mental Note and Lorien Revealed. I'm at the phase of the game where we're casting Lorien Revealed. I'm going to get Terror in because I can hold up 2 counter spells to fight over that one. And still continue to use 0. Alright, you got it. Where'd all those Tithing Blades go? And all that shit, for sure. Colony Garden. 1 damage coming through. Okay, Lorien Revealed comes with an issue. And that issue is that if I miss on the land, holding up this counterspell for the entire game has been for naught. I guess I'll just play my Serpent. Oh, wow, I'm at 5 minutes on my clock to their 13. Wow, I've been farting around. What am I even doing here? How did that happen? I guess I am making commentary, and they're probably not. A little embarrassing to be that far behind on my clock. Duress. Well, I'll counterspell that. And then they get to do whatever it is they've been holding on to for the entire game. Campfire. Okay, well, decking them's not the plan. Cast Lorien Revealed. Okay, pass. Murmuring Mystic. Not good against Cryptorats, but not upset about the card. They're down to 3 cards in their hand, despite having drawn trillions of cards this game. Mystic. Ponder. Shuffle that. That was a Brainstorm in 2 lands. I don't want all that shit. And I'm going to pass. Okay, I meant to Mental Note in the end step, but then I just forgot. If I'm being honest. I didn't forget. I was trying to click fast through the clock. All right, here we go. Bird. Create problems. Do damage. All right, damage is being done. And is Mental Note even really castable here? Because of... I mentioned decking being part of the game. Duress. Sure, resolves. Took my Dispel. Oh, we've got a lot of mana in the pool. Rats for 8. Okay, that happens. Okay, here we go. Brainstorm, looking for the last counterspell in my deck. Put back Deep Analysis and Sleep of the Dead. Then cast Mental Note. And I drew Dispel. That's not the one I want. Okay, so I'm dead. This was a sweet match. This Golgari Gardens deck is really awesome. I played Team Trios at Eternal Weekend Europe with Justin Gennari and Andrea Piemonte, and Andrea played this deck in Pauper and just easily went undefeated through the whole tournament, and it looked awesome. Okay, on to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 3. I am going to keep. And if we're keeping score, this is another hand where Delver would be better than Murmuring Mystic, but we'll see how this game goes. This one's a little riskier than any of the previous ones. I've at least had a Lorien Revealed to line up my second land. I get to see 2 random cards. Mental Note, while it does replace itself, Thought Scour the same. You're not making any selection. It's very different than Ponder and Brainstorm as far as hitting your second land drop go. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent mulled to 6. A Plains. A Dillo. Okay. This is the Auras deck. Alright, that was actually a really good draw. A spell that's also a land. That's exactly what I want there. 4 spells in my graveyard. And this is like the white heroic deck. It's got some auras and stuff. There's some aura that lets creatures hit with their butt, which is why you have all these 0/4s in there. Ooh. War 2 has flying as long as it's modified. You got it. A spider person. That's not a spider or a person. Okay, deck. Something to do here would be ideal. A Mental Note, a Lorien Revealed. Something that gets these Cryptic Serpents out of my hand is what I want. Okay, well, I could deem Wonderweave Aerialist inferior, or I could hold up Counterspell. I think deem inferior is the... Oh, this has fucking ward. All right, never mind. I should have held up Counterspell. I was about to say this play at least has ward 2. I literally looked at the card like 3 times. I was going to say this gets a spell in the graveyard for sure, rather than requiring my opponent to play along, but good chance that they would cast a spell this turn that I could counter. All right, this Ward of Lights will give this protection from blue, which is my entire deck, which means I can't block it, target it, and it can block me. And if they just build a giant boat here, where the lifelink is really good. A Ponder is free money. The other Ponder is also free money. Okay, so I'm going to go Thought Scour, Island, Ponder, don't shuffle, Ponder, take, Island, Thought Scour on top of my deck, Cryptic Serpent in the mix. All right, now I have a big creature where they have to get this thing big enough to wash out the lifelink, or they can leave this back as a blocker, which can block any size creature while also gaining 2 life per turn. That would be a lot to power through, but I can represent a lot of power and toughness with this deck. I have a second Serpent coming. Murmuring Mystic can start doing stuff after that. I do certainly wish I hadn't just placed a card in the graveyard for no reason, but we're here anyway. Okay, 2+1 counters on the Aerialist. And Ethereal. All right, this game is unwinnable. All right, mistakes were made. Yeah, I can't block that. I can't attack through it. I can't race it. Disastrous. Ward 2, huh? My brain just blacks out when I see a card that's not even a card that exists in real life. Just the whole Spider Slop, Enter the Omen Pass, completely different set online shit. I still have not recovered from it, and I play primarily online. Okay, a Null seems really clutch here. Their creatures are bigger than Gutshot. Demon Inferior is actually really good if you cast it when you can actually resolve it. Sleep of the Dead, probably important here. Dispel. Instants are not really the thing that White Weenie does. Deep Analysis can be a little risky when your life total is under constant stress and it's a 4-drop that you don't really want in your hand. Maybe I just bring in 3 Annuls. That's like most of their deck, though. What would I cut for Annul? It's probably not a Lorien Revealed, because hitting your first 2 or 3 land drops is pretty important. And Mental Note is the worst of the cantrips, I think, as far as... And it's good at going fast, but it's bad at giving you any decisions to make. All right, I'm going to cut 1 Mental Note. Keep. Okay. This is the Speed Demon hand. This is a potential turn 2 terror. Both Thought Scours would have to hit 2 spells to get a turn 2 terror. But worst case scenario, like if the first Thought Scour doesn't hit 2 spells, then I know the second one's not worth sending, but I probably just hold up Counterspell to make sure my opponent doesn't get some unkillable monster into play. And then I can Thought Scour in the end step if they play around Counterspell. Mull to 6 again. They have the Dillo again. Scour myself. Did not hit 2 spells. Okay, hold up Counterspell. I can Scour in the end step if they don't cast a spell. I think I'll counter literally anything because I have 3 counter spells and I need stuff in my graveyard. Homestead Courage. That's such an embarrassing card to counter. Alright, I lied. I won't counter literally anything. Countering that is certainly not better than scouring my own thoughts. A 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to ponder here because I'd like to hit a land, and I did. This leaves up Counterspell. I can make Demon Inferior cost just the blue next turn, which does get past Dillo's Ward, which I am aware of. They're miles away from buffing this. For 4 mana, you can go +X/+O, where X is its toughness. Okay, I wanted them to do literally anything, and they didn't. Okay, I could deem this Dillo Inferior. I think I'm gonna move some cards around here. All right, Mental Note kicks Deep Analysis to where I need it to be. Okay, Deep Analysis, Mental Note, top, Deem Inferior, costs 1, Ward 1, I can pay. Okay, it will not be warded. I'll use my mana to cast Ponder instead. Another counterspell, I don't need that. Right, Mental Note to my hand, and pass the turn, hope that, I mean, they are mana screwed over here. It's turn 4 and they haven't played a second land. Gonna hope that they don't have some unbeatable 1-drop that they've been playing around Counterspell all this time. Enchanted creatures protection from green and blue. Okay, that's pretty good. That doesn't do everything on its own, though. I'm going to upkeep Mental Note. That gets rid of the 2 cards I don't want. I drew another Terror. 7 cards in hand. I think I actually do want to pass here. I'm worried about this thing getting any bigger. And I think I actually will counter the Homestead Courage out of the graveyard this time around. It's not pretty, but I am only taking 1 a turn. And now I can play Terror with Counterspell still up. This can block this forever. But I can navigate that with more of them. Okay, they don't want to race. That's a start. I am going to scour myself, though the Deep Analysis is already gone. And they have Homestead Courage, at least. Just trying to think of reasons not to mill them versus do mill me. Murmuring Mystic, there we go. Now we're going wide. I don't want that yet. I will play the second Terror, leave up Counterspell, and next turn I can push actual damage. Solid Footing. This is a problem. Yeah, that lets it hit with its ass and makes it bigger. I don't want either of those things to be true. Uh-oh, the second mana. Double Ethereal Armor, GG. Demon Fury does target non-land permanents, though. I could get rid of the Shield of Duty and Reason and then figure out something to actually do with my life. Laguna. All right, Ethereal Armor, 3/7. That's still not big enough to beat my creatures in combat. Yeah, I could Deep Analysis here. That lets me do everything I want to do. All right, I am going to take the damage to Deep Analysis. I'm going to put Trailblazer to sleep. I'm going to push 5 damage through. And Counterspell is still up. The third land, okay, they're fully unlocked. Everything I've been afraid of for the last 7 turns is now on the table. Second Dillo is not what I'm scared of. The 4th mana also activates Dillo, which means it can attack for 10. So if they attack this turn, draw a land next turn, I'm dead and there's not a thing I can do about it. Okay, well, I can't abide by 2 of these things existing. They should attack here. That threatens lethal. Yeah, it's +X+O where X is your toughness. It's not your attack becomes your toughness. Yeah, this is the correct attack. Ugh, I hate when my opponents play right. I want them to play scared and weak. Okay, Brainstorm. I did not find Demon Inferior. In fact, found quite the opposite. Deem myself inferior. Ponder, Shuffle, Sleep of the Dead from hand is a little better than from the graveyard because now I get to add my Serpent to the board. All right, all in. Please don't draw mana. Go. They didn't gem a Plains into play. That's 5. Can they get it to 10? Sentinel's Eyes. It's a 7/11. It's always open. Hey, now I'm burn 9. I'm at 1, baby. Can't block. I am at 1, and you look pretty dead. Wow. All right. All it took was them being mana screwed for 7 turns. Ay caramba. Man, that's a lot of hate for what I'm bringing here. I don't think making them discard a card will be likely to be helpful. I am a null maxed. Yeah, I think these are the cards I have. It's just, do I want Mental Note? I could max out on Mental Note for speed over maybe like a Murmuring Mystic. If every creature they play is going to have protection from blue, Murmuring Mystic's pretty bad. But that does let me push wide. But do I think going wide's even going to be what the game's about? This is so hard. I think I'm going to shave Murmuring Mystic for the Mental Note back in. On the draw, just filling my graveyard and doing what I need to do at the correct speed feels important. All right, here we go. This is the big, juicy graveyard with no threat yet situation. Also on the draw. I haven't been on the draw yet in this match. They could just have some untouchable giant creature before I even have mana up to do anything about it. Got a Trailblazer. Okay, well, there's the threat. I have basically my nut draw. Do you have yours? Okay, that's a start. Untouchable 1/5. I didn't have the annul. I do have the Demon Inferior for a mid-game math change. Sentinel's Eyes. This is a 3/7 that I can't block and can block me infinitely. Mental Note. Milled 2 spells, including annul. Oh, there's an annul. All right. Might be too late to matter. Okay, I think I'm going to pass. I think holding up a null to make sure they don't get some like lifelink or big stats, like an ethereal armor or something on this thing, is worth it. And I can still mental note Homestead Courage. That makes that so big. But I can't interact with that. I don't have the ability. Oh, yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm just getting heroic. Okay, mental note. Cycle Lorian. Go to my turn. Cryptic Serpent and Tolarian Terror are both here. Might as well cast the one that costs more, I guess. Because I'm only using 1 mana anyway. If they can just put 3 power on this thing, they win. Or if they just don't do that and attack twice, because what am I going to do in between? So the only thing I can really do is deem inferior the shield and then start blocking. Underweave Aerialist. Armored Dillo. Okay. I accept. Very well. I'm going to deem inferior the protection from blue shield, which is still not even close to good enough to win this game. If they just attack... Oh, they were at 0 cards, and they put the shield on the bottom. Yep. Yeah, being able to do anything to the aerialist is enough. I have no flying. Okay, yeah, just being on the draw turns out to be enough to defeat me. I'll at least take this Trailblazer down with me. Moral victory. Yeah, it turns out being monocolor lets people play cards like various ward auras, and then your whole deck doesn't work against the card anymore. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4. I've at least been doing well with die rolls. I am going to keep Island Ponder. Okay, Serpent is here. Second Land is here. These are all cards I'm interested in. This hand was missing a threat up to that point. A Forest. Okay, Bogles. We're doing this again. Basically the same thing as my last opponent's deck, except different. And I'm going to Thought Scour myself. That gets rid of Deem Inferior. Okay, pass the turn. Deem Inferior can get rid of an aura, even if it can't hit the scouts. Utopia Sprawl. All right. Ethereal Armor. Abundant Growth. All right, that's a 4/4, just like that. I think I have to end step Brainstorm to try to get something going here. Dispel is pretty worthless, and Demon Fury is going to be important. Sleep of the Dead's also pretty worthless. All right, I'll put 2 bad spells on top of the deck. Upkeep Mental Note so I don't draw them. And then my options here are, I've drawn 2 cards this turn. I could Thought Scour and then put Ethereal Armor somewhere else. I could just dump out a Serpent and then think about Ethereal Armor next turn. The next turn, I will not have already drawn 1 card. All right, I'm going to get a Serpent into play. Demon Fury being a sorcery is pretty whack. Unlikely to get a giant combat blowout. I might just die right now. Holy crap. Yeah, the big bet that the blue terror deck is making is that Tolarian Terror will be the biggest creature on turn 2 or 3 when it comes down. And if you're playing against a 16/16 first strike at that point, that's simply not true. All right. Is this game winnable? I'm going to Thought Scour myself. I can play Serpent and Terror, chump for a turn. What I need to do is get Mystic going. They don't have any evasion yet. We got a May the 4th be with you in the chat. Here comes the 4th Imperial. Oh, yeah. Okay, 4 copies of the best card in the deck. You got me. All right. Annul's all coming in. Piracy Charm does not matter. Dispel and Sleep of the Dead don't really have targets. Yeah, I mean, I think this is what I got. Yeah, let's go. And playing against 2 Bogle variants in a row here just kind of highlights the pros and cons of deck building, which is the wonderful puzzle that the great Richard Garfield gave us all 33 years ago. Of your deck can be really good at doing one thing, like this 16 basic land mana base, but that probably means it's bad at other stuff, and creatures with hexproof or protection from blue or ward 2 can be tough for a mono blue deck to deal with. But if I had black, then I could have things like edicts in my deck, which can chew the Bogle deck up, or sweepers of some variety. But then I'd have to play bad cards that come into play tapped, and I have to play fixing to find those cards that come into play tapped, and then, you know, all the cost that comes with that. And that's just the beautiful Magic the Gathering engine at work. No annuls here. I am on the play with a counterspell, though. I can mental note, untap, hold up counterspell at the very least. This deck has a lot of dumb redundant shit. Okay, good. They are sideboarded for the wrong deck, which can be the cost of doing business if you don't let your opponent play the game at all. But I care very little about Scattershot Archer. Obviously, Murmuring Mystic, it's a thing, but it's not a Bogle. All right, Utopia Sprawls in. Blade Cover Scout. I'm going to try to counter the hexproof creatures if they have 2 of these. Whatever, you got it. Cool. They did not have 2 of these. Okay, 2 Brainstorms or 1 Deep Analysis. Who would win? I think I'm going to Brainstorm first. There's so many better hits for that. Okay, that's one of them. How many of these do I need? Murmuring Mystic. We just determined you're not very good right now. Cryptic Serpent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be fully operational next turn. All right, Deep Analysis can go away. Cyclorian. Terror. Ship it. Okay, I'm on the board with the bigger creature, which was not true at any point of last game, or the game before it against the white deck. Abundant Growth. Plains. Circle of Protection blue. That's going to be annoying to work through, but it's not as bad as it might seem. They do have to leave up mana every turn to respect that. And eventually I can Demon Inferior. No, that's not even true, because that's a sorcery and they can just spend the mana at the point where they feel like doing that. A Brainstorm. A Null, I'm happy to see. Playing out Island here. All right, I'm going to put 2 Serpents back. And then I'll hit my land drop, play a Serpent, and I'm holding up a Null. I just got to work my way to overwhelming this COP, or bouncing it and countering it on the way back down is an option. Crewfix's Insight. All right, look at 6, put 2 enchantments in your hand. Up to 3 enchantments in your hand, never mind. I wish it was 2. We got Ethereal Armor, Cartouche of Solidarity, and Abundant Growth. More like Cardouche, am I right? But now they're in the spot I described of, do they want to add to their board or leave up Circle of Protection? Looks like adding to the board is starting to be the decision. Ethereal Armor, that's the one I don't want in play. That can make their Scattershot Archer big enough to beat these things, which I'm not interested in. Might as well Abundant Growth at this point. I've drawn another Serpent. We knew that was there. I'm going to get my 11 points in while I can. Sweet. I'm going to Deep Analysis. Hit the land drop without needing to do anything else. Ponder. I found Counterspell and Demon Inferior. These are important cards going down the stretch. Okay. I'll put Counterspell in my hand. I'll add Cryptic Serpent to the board. I'm trying to overwhelm. At 9 life, they can't be willy-nilly about letting even 1 terror through. And knowing that I have a Deem coming can change math, and I know it can change math, but they don't know that. Wild Growth, Plains. That's a lot of mana to keep protection up. Cartouche. That's the card we knew about. Now there's 2 unknowns in the hand. Ancestral Mask. Uh-oh. Well, I could simply die in 2 hits now. Do I chump block? I might have to. Or I could Demon Fury or the Scattershot Archer, kill these enchantments, try to outmuscle Circle of Protection another way. Being at 2, though, sucks. My opponent has 2 mana right now. That can stop 2 of my guys. Yeah, do I want to be at 2 is the question. Okay, no blocks. Let's party. We have drawn Demon Fury that costs 3 mana right now. I'm going to target the Scattershot Archer and hope that they don't have a trick in their hand. Last card in hand is some Flash Aura that gives it protection from blue. But they would die if they do that, because that taps them out and then I attack for 11. I am also holding Counterspell. Okay, right now, I can attack with everything, and they can either block or go to 4. And I have a follow-up Serpent. At 2 life, I have to respect every stupid thing. All right, I'm gonna go beast mode here. Yep, COP happens. That's 1 prevented. And this does not target, so ward isn't even part of the game here. They correctly did not block. Cycle Lorien, get an island, play a Serpent, and here we go. Glade Cover Scout. And this game's going to get really stupid for a minute or 2. Mental note, found Lorien revealed. I think it is more important that I hold up Counterspell, because I could die to a variety of things. There are 2 Demon Inferiors still in my deck. I have to counter that. If I get put into chump block mode, I think it's over. Another Counterspell. Okay, I'm still going to hold that up for a turn. If Lorien hit the land, it would be fine, but with my land count, I don't want to be frivolous about any of this. And look at this. Yeah, the way my opponent has been ripping, we just got to keep it up. Okay. Lorien revealed. Flareon Terror. Opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4 mana available. That's enough for all of my attackers exactly. Okay. All right, maybe just don't draw an absolute haymaker for 1 turn. Just chill. Malevolent Rumble. Well, that found another Ancestral Mask. Sweet. Absolute haymaker confirmed. However, this creature doesn't have evasion, doesn't have trample. Ooh, put it on the Vidge creature. That's so smart. God damn it. I hate when opponents play well. I'll probably just double block it if they attack here. Got to get it off the board. An Eldrazi spawn plus Circle of Protection blue. That is a block, sack, pay to blank another one. That's so sick. Okay, no attack. Land. All right, they're now empty. Thought Scour. Sentinel's Eyes is a card they might play that matters out of the graveyard. I'm out of cards that I'm happy to put in my graveyard. I don't even have the life to Deep Analysis. Okay. Big game. That is a way to make this game more interesting. 1 card in hand. Show me the trample. Show me the protection from blue. I know you drew it. Yeah, of course. I told you. I still have enough stats to beat this thing and trade off with it. But opponent is banging it out here. And I'm certainly not saying any of those things derogatorily. My opponent's been chatty in the chat and agrees that they're ripping like God. Annul. Right on time. Okay. I am going to pass the turn. Okay. They've passed back to me. Still don't want to give up their big Vidge boy. I still can't get a real attack in. Cycling Ash Barrens, you got it. Isn't it crazy how this game has devolved into complete garbage because of Circle of Protection? And Circle of Protection was printed in damn near every set well into the early 2000s. This is just something that Magic the Gathering thought was important for a very long time. Okay, I do have 1 Brainstorm left in my deck. I guess I should hold my horses on this last island. Ironically, that Sleep of the Dead would be excellent here. Okay, well, this can only be blocked by flyers, where unless I draw a spell, that'll kill me in 2 turns. Oh, sweet relief. Okay. Murmuring Mystic gets to do something here. Demon Inferior, Thought Scour. Okay. This is actually all good stuff. Island, Team, Scour, no shuffle. Scour you. I draw a Deem. Deem the Circle of Protection Inferior. Right, now they gotta commit a bunch of mana to blanking a bunch of guys. Okay, everybody has been garbagified. I know I'm drawing an island next turn. Pass. They did put the circle near the top of the deck. Might want to gain some life here, just to be sure. Okay. Gotta make my blocks. This is 13. I can go 6, 12. Oh, this has trample too. All right, never mind. 6, 12, 13, 14, 1, 2. No, this doesn't make any sense. I should just block with 3. Cryptic Serpents. Okay, there it is. My birds are precious. Opponent's going to gain a lot of life here, and then we'll get back into a race. But it's a race that I now feel okay in, unless they have some horrible trick right now that doesn't get annulled. We know they're drawing Circle of Protection next turn. Okay, you go to 17, I'm at 2, but now we're actually racing. Here's the island I knew I was drawing. They have 1, 2, 3. Attack with Cryptic Serpent, Tolarian Terror, and 1 bird. Is that safe? It feels safe. They're drawing Circle of Protection, which I will counter and get a bird out of. All right, get this out of here. No, thank you. Absolutely not. Okay, do I win now? Have we ground on turn 15 back to a winning position? All right, opponent's at 11, which means they have to block 2 of these. Can I force them to block all of them? 4, 5, no. All right. Okay, just the big ones. They have to block 1 here. Or they had to block 2. Right. That's the thing I said. That's what I said the first time. Okay, they have to do something that deals 2 damage to me here that is not in an artifact or an enchantment. Malevolent Rumble. It's nothing helpful. Abundant Growth is a cantrip, I guess. I will allow that to occur. Another Rumble. Let's go. Found another circle. If they have sandbagged a lethal aura, like if they have something that gives Silhana Ledgewalker a bunch of stats and trample as the last card in hand. Okay, good. Wow, what a battle. Okay, Envelop counters Kerfix's Insight and Malevolent Rumble. Am I interested in that level of counterplay? Do I think that sort of thing is important? You know, 3-for-1's pretty important. The Kerfix's Insight. That's a lot of cards to have to answer. Having 1 Sleep of the Dead in my deck would have impacted that particular game a lot, but that's because they put all their big auras on a normal creature and not one with hexproof. If it was just on something else, it would be completely different. They don't have any islands. Envelop's the only card I'm seriously considering here, but I don't think I'm considering it that seriously. It is nice to see, practically, that Circle of Protection is a beatable card. As long as they're not... Like, they would need to go threat, buff the threat, COP, become unraceable, is all the steps involved in them getting where they want to go with that. But unfortunately here on the play, it might not even matter if they have Circle of Protection in their deck or not, if they just get a giant Glade Cover Scout going. I don't have any curfews in my sideboard. There's very little I can do about it once it's happening. Rumble, all right. I hope they take the Circle of Protection out of fear. In turn 2 Rumble instead of turn 2, make this a 4/4 is pretty exciting. They took Ash Barrens. They're trying to turn on white mana over there. I'm going to end step Brainstorm. I think that's better than Thought Scour as far as setting up what I need to set up. Brainstorm, please show me a land. Uh-oh. All right, well, kinda. I will put back... This Mystic is a much later problem, and I don't really want Deep Analysis in the mix either. Upkeep, Cycle Lorien. Draw. Cryptic Serpent. I've seen worse. All right, I'm going to pass the turn. I am representing a null. even though I don't actually have it. Nobody needs to know that, though. Abundant Growth. All right, white mana unlocked in multiple directions with the Ash Baron and the Abundant Growth. They could just play Ash Barons and cast Ancestral Mask and bash my head in. Ethereal Armor, yep. And that was an annul test. They know I don't have it now. Cycling Ash Barons, Plains. Opponent has great choice in basic lands. All right, well, there they are. Okay, Mental Note. Missed on land. There's a null in my graveyard. Right where it belongs. I think I might just be dead here. I'm going to brainstorm. Okay, get rid of Deep Analysis and probably one of these Ponders. Then cycle Lorien Revealed. Deem Inferior one of these Ethereal Armors. That takes a lot of power off the board. And I can target my opponent with Thought Scour next turn. So they don't draw that second one. Though there's 4 other cards in the hand. Well, well, well. Well, well, well. Look who's a big tough guy. Okay. Draw for turn. Almost certainly dead here. Scour you. Well, I found another Deem. But it's not good enough. I have to ponder to try to hit a land drop here. And missed, gonna have to shuffle. Alright, we got there on the land. That gives me some bonus options here. I can Tolarian Terror and deem Ancestral Mask inferior. I now temporarily have the biggest creature, and I can Thought Scour the Mask next turn. I have to hope that their hand contains no enchantments at all. Just 4 lands over there. That's what I need. A Utopia Sprawl. This is a 4/4 now. Most spells beat me. Scattershot Archer is not one of them. Oh my god. Are you saying there's a chance? Are you saying there's a chance? Thought Scour away your Ancestral Mask. Cycle Lorien. Cast Ponder. Leave up Counterspell. Okay. I'm not dead yet. I am in the terrible position where I have to counter any enchantment, which is not what I want to be doing. If there's just 2 lands in that hand, though, we're starting to make progress. Okay. I'm happy to counter that any time that it occurs. No, don't do more. Oh, yes. It's just a creature. It's just a creature. All right, grind it back, team. I think I want to brainstorm first because I can use Ponder to shuffle brainstorm, but not the other way around. All right, Island, Deep Analysis, Mental Note. I don't think I'll be Deep Analysising to 1 life. And might as well Ponder. Annul costs 1. A second Annul and a 3rd Serpent. Give me that. Give me that. Okay, if they just try to Alpha Strike me out here, I can eat their creatures. I go to 2, and then they have nothing going on. Something like Sentinel's Eyes, which has Escape, would be particularly egregious here, because that would outmuscle a single counterspell. But we live to play on. Cryptic Serpent. If I cast that Deep Analysis, I lose, and there's a land on top of the deck. Don't like my odds there. Do I want to start attacking? I think I do. If I attack with both, then they're actually dead next turn. I can counter most things. I'd go to 1. Yeah, let's go. It's time to push. Okay. They left everything back. I have a null. They're in top deck mode. They would need to make their creature bigger without playing an enchantment. Or remove my creature without playing an enchantment. Holy moly. I think we got him in blocking mode. Yeah, they got to block at least one of these. I can't attack with all of them because then I'm dead. Have to block 1. Ooh, choose to block 2 though. Okay. Big things are happening. What is that card in the hand? Did they sandbag a double play to try to beat my hand? Or did they just flat out at the end? We got a GG's in the chat. Wow. I did not think we were winning that game. GG's opponent. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round, playing for that positive record. Island, Ponder, Keep. Ponder is the one that is the best at finding lands. I'm going to start with that. A land it is. I've got a Thought Scour, a Ponder. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. All right. I was trying to figure out how to stack that so it does the most of what I want. and I'm going to draw Ponder, cast Ponder. That Ponder draws Cryptic Serpent, then I'll blind Thought Scour. Preordain from the opponent. Off of a Snow Island. Could this be some Skred deck? Okay, Ponder. This gives me Tolarian Terror and lets me mill away a land I don't want and a spell that I want in my graveyard. And I'm doing it now to play around Spellstutter Sprite. B-Storm. What did that Preordain do last turn? Top, bottom? Okay. So they're not frantically looking for a land drop here, or else they probably would not have kept any on the top. Snow-covered island, Preordain. Right, big draws. Is it a spell? Kind of. I'm just going to tap out for Tolarian Terror. With the ward, it'll probably be hard to interact with this turn, and Daze is not legal in this format. I would have preferred to be able to leave up Dispel while we did that, but this is the hand I have. Another Brainstorm. The last Preordain went bottom, bottom. That just cleared the Brainstorm cards. Impulse. Oh, okay. This is starting to smell like a combo deck. But High Tide is banned. What are we doing? What's going on over there? A Brainstorm. This can put back Deep Analysis and Counterspell. Then I can cast Ponder and draw Counterspell. And I can attack for 5. And I can leave up Counterspell or I can add to the board. Alright, if I die here, I die. But I don't know what this is with High Tide banned from the format. So, what's going on? Glacial Floodplain. A white mana revealed. Wedding Invitation. This enters draw a card. Okay. Absolutely rewarded for adding to the board last turn. And now I have enough mana to play Serpent and leave up 2 counterspells. Let's go. Alright, you're up. 8 cards in hand, 4 life, 4 mana. What does that deck do? Tireless Tribe. Oh. Inside Out combo? Is this still a thing? I don't think I'm fighting over the Tribe because it needs to attack to win. Okay. I'm going to attack with everything. I can fight over something like Prismatic Strands. Inside Out. Alright, so they're just turning my Serpent into a different lethal threat to cantrip once and then dying. Okay, Inside Out combo. I haven't seen this in a very long time. That's exciting. Gutshot just cooks this whole deck, right? Piracy Charm. Because you put 1 damage on it, and then the Tireless Tribe flips to a, like, 25-1 and just dies instantly. The Hydroblast do hit the card Inside Out, but it's a blue-white deck otherwise. Yeah, I don't think I'm interested in that. Demon Furier, Sleep of the Dead. I don't like that these interact at sorcery speed, but Sleep of the Dead can at least keep the thing sleepy. I think I just want like less of all this, especially because I'm bringing in Gutshots. Maybe shave a Mystic. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Just lean on the terrors and answers for Tireless Tribe. I'm gonna keep this hand. And this is where long-term format investment comes in. I may not know exactly what the construction of Azorius Familiars is these days, but I do know how to recognize Inside Out combo when I see it coming my way. A deck that has not been popular for like 4 years. A end-step Brainstorm. They're looking for velocity. Are we going to see Lorien? Yes, we are. Glacial Floodplain enters the zone. Yeah, it took them 4 or 5 turns to find white mana last game, and now they have it on turn 2. Oh, but I got a gut shot. Shot through the gut. 3 spells in the graveyard. If Thought's Power hits, this is the wrong Serpent anyway, so I'm just going to pass. Tireless Tribe. I'm going to start with a counterspell. I expect to lose this counter fight, but that's what Gutshot is for. Piracy Charm and Gutshot and Dispel. Alright, pass the turn. End step B-Storm. Trying to remember what it was that made this deck good that then made this deck bad. Was it Gush? Was Gush legal? When did Gush get banned? Is my time frame correct on this one? Squadron Hawk. Yeah, that's a lot of that. Okay, handful of stuff. Old Bird Cestral Recall. I'm not worried about random chip shots from that thing. Thought Scour myself. Drew a land. Pretty into that, actually. Okay, I can play Serpent, and I still have up 3 layers of interaction. Gutshot, Piracy, Charm, Dispel. Circular Logic. That's cool. I'll be countering that. because I need this Serpent in play. Okay, so Madness Engine is part of what they're doing here. That's sweet. Ponder. We know half of their hand is Squadron Hawks right now. Didn't shuffle Ponder. No blocks here. Drew Island for turn. That's not a bad draw. Attack with my Snake. And I'll go for Murmuring Mystic. It might get countered, but if it doesn't, that's really nice. And it didn't. Escape Tunnel. Ooh. Target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. Alright, I see you. I see what you're doing. Inside Out. In response, Gut Shot. This is the time to do it. Starting Circular Logic. Target creature get -2/-1 until end of turn. Do you have 2 counter spells? There's just 1 unknown card in the hand. Is it another counter? And it's not. The Tireless Tribe dies. They're all in and they're out of here. Sweet. That was a matchup I wasn't expecting to play today. Okay, positive record with Mono Blue Terror. Ran into the Gates deck, which can outgrind just about anyone, and had a little rust on me, not gonna lie. I don't think I played that match particularly well in a couple spots. And then we played against the Protection from Blue theme deck. That wasn't great. But we rallied back, beat Bogles, which I imagine is a tough matchup, especially without dedicated hate like Curfew or something like that to really clear the way of an untargetable thing. But yeah, this deck's great at doing what it does. It craps out 5 and 6 power creatures very quickly. It sees lots of cards in games. It applies pressure, and it's quite good at doing exactly that. I do feel like the Murmuring Mystic was good in a bunch of spots. I was happy to see it a lot of the time, though a bunch of other times it was in my opening hand where a Delver would have been exactly what the doctor ordered. I would need to play more matches and pay more attention, like really track it. And this is something I talk to my coaching clients about all the time, tracking results, tracking information. A lot of people don't track that sort of thing at all, or they think they need to make some complicated spreadsheet. And you could literally just make a T-chart, just draw a line down the middle of a piece of paper and say Mystic on one side, Delver on the other. And whenever you draw a Delver or a Murmuring Mystic, you just put a tally mark on the side of which one would have been better. And then over however many games, you can see how many tally marks actually add up. But that's Wombat Ferrari's business, not mine. I was just here to play 5 matches, and I did that, and we got some sweet matches. Pauper's awesome. You can clearly see where getting rewarded for knowing what's in the different decks matters a lot, knowing what to be worried about. Like that game 1 Nile Spellbomb from the Gardens deck messed me up, and if I was just more dialed into the format right now, that's something that would not have gotten me, and I probably win that match because I take game 1 instead of us going to a draw. You know, like that's just... Format knowledge matters in these Eternal formats. But sometimes it also matters just crapping out 20 power by turn 4. And this deck does a little bit of both. Wombat Ferrari, thanks for sharing this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I will see you next time.